Hi there, my name is Kathleen Homeland, and I'm currently living in Geneva, Switzerland, and I'm part of the Impact Hub Geneva team. In putting together my first assignment of my life map, I decided to use Prezi, and I'm using Camtasia to capture the presentation as a video. Using a world map seemed the natural way to go, as I have lived in a number of places throughout my life. I was born on the island of Sardinia, part of Italy, and in the beautiful Mediterranean Sea. And my mother is from Belfast originally, Northern Ireland, and my father is from upstate New York. So they met and fell in love on the Mediterranean island. And I came about, and there you have it, essentially. I spent my childhood there, elementary school, before moving to Northern Ireland. So when I was a kid, my passions or my goals were to become an astronaut or a civil engineer. As I went through education, I discovered I wasn't terribly good at sciences or math, so that dream became a little distant. Having said that, I realized that some of the qualities inherent in these roles have followed me in my career, as I am a pretty adventurous person. I like to go beyond and try new things, and I've always been a bit of a sci-fi fan. And from a civil engineering standpoint, my love for sort of technical drawing and putting together presentations and so forth has really come in handy as I've developed my career in communications. So as I said before, I moved to Northern Ireland in 1985. I spent my high school years here. I want to highlight the year 1992, which was quite a fun-filled year where I got to travel to Poland with a group of young people for a month in that summer, doing some community building projects. I also was lucky enough to attend the Olympics in Barcelona that year, as my sister was living in the city at the time. I traveled to New York City in November of that year for the Baha'i World Congress that was taking place at that time. I grew up within a Baha'i family, and I am a Baha'i myself, so this was a remarkable Congress to attend with over 200 countries represented and some 30,000 Baha'is from all over the world. It was also an opportunity for us to have a huge family reunion in New Jersey with family from the States, from Italy, from Ireland, Venezuela, and that to date has been the most extensive family reunion I've experienced. 1993, I graduated from grammar school in the UK, or high school, and I started university in Edinburgh in Scotland. One of my university years was also spent at Deusto University in Bilbao in Spain, where I spent my Erasmus year, and I studied there at the university. I graduated from Heriot-Watt University in Edinburgh in 1997 with my MA Honours in International Business and Languages, more specifically Spanish. But also French, which lay dormant for a number of years until I moved to Geneva a year ago. So I'm now actively speaking my 4 languages of English, Italian, and Spanish and French pretty much on a daily basis since I moved here. In 1997, at the end that summer, I actually moved to Haifa, Israel, where the Baha'i World Center is situated. This is the spiritual headquarters as well as the world administrative headquarters of the Baha'i Faith. And I served there for 30 months within an administrative capacity. I was working as sort of secretariat support, corresponding with various national Baha'i communities. And without a doubt, these 2.5 years that I spent in this region were the most formative years of my life. I got to live and work alongside some 700 Baha'is from over 70 countries, and really got to experience this living this unity and diversity aspect that the Baha'i faith very much promotes. So after serving at the Baha'i World Center in 2000, spring 2000, I returned to Northern Ireland and I got my first full-time job for 1 year, working for Daewoo Electronics, a consumer electronics company. I then moved on to a more significant and rewarding role as a communications specialist coordinator at Schrader Electronics, an automotive supplier company. And that was really a very formative period for my career, as I worked very much within the business-to-business arena, but also was given freedom to develop various multimedia tools for the company. I also spent a great deal of time in my local community and various community building projects and initiatives throughout Belfast and Northern Ireland. 2004, I moved to Washington, D.C. I decided to experience the American side of my family, and so I went and lived in the U.S. for 6 years. I worked as a media officer within the human rights arena, specifically religious freedom in the Middle East. And it was during that time that I really became very much attracted to how digital media and the development of technology in media, how it provided terrific tools and abilities for organizations and companies to really tell their stories and really become publishers themselves. I also started a blog slash NGO that was focused around food and sustainable food and children's education around food. This was called Zampa, which is still operating to this day in North Carolina and Washington, D.C. area. In 2010, I returned to Northern Ireland once again. You can see that this is pretty much the home base where the parents have remained. I started to work as a freelancer, as a digital media specialist, and had a terrific time developing a business model and networking and really getting to know the business community around me in Northern Ireland and Belfast in particular. Some highlights during that period, I walked the Camino de Santiago in 2011. This is a 750 kilometer, 500 mile walk in northern Spain. You can look it up. I then sort of link on to my role as a TEDx organizer for TEDx Women Belfast, which I was a co-organizer on 2 occasions. I also gave a talk about my experiences of walking the Camino de Santiago at the first TEDx event there. During this period, I also became an active member of EBBF, which stands for Ethical Business Building the Future, which is an international organization which is over 25 years old that has been actively working in the arena of ethics and business. And their motto very much hits home with me, which is mindful people, meaningful work. So how do we get to make all of our work meaningful? That's pretty much the goal and work that this organization does. 2014 was a rather big year again for me as I moved to Geneva and got married. And in that same vein, my husband and I bought and renovated a house. So I'm at a turning point now very much so as 2015 hits and I want to build on a bit of a career relaunch and realigning my experiences and my talents and seeing how I can best contribute here in the Geneva area and beyond. So with regards to some of my core values, shall we say, I think that I'm all about having a world-embracing vision and plan in everything I do. I am focused on empowering others to engage in building communities and unlocking capacities. And with these sort of rather lofty utopian goals, you may think, is pretty much how I infuse my work, as I like to go about accomplishing this through communications. And in doing so, I believe that we need the following steps: that we follow a path together, we have conversation, we have to be authentic in that conversation. It's about connecting with your audience and connecting people. And ultimately, all kinds of communications is about building relationships. So there you have my journey to this point, August 2015. Where it shall lead to, we shall just have to see. Should you wish to do so, you may continue to follow my journey on Twitter or Instagram. Excuse any sometimes excessive postings of photographs of my cats or coffee. But aside from that, I do post other stuff as well that I hope is rather interesting. I will move on now, and we shall see what our second assignment will be for the storytelling course. Bye-bye.